loyal and faithful. Some years ago, Jilly Cooper wrote a book with a title similar to this story. It was all about dogs, about their loyalty and fidelity, and what love and devotion they gave so unstintingly to their lucky owners. Now, if my dog Finn had been able to read, she would have fallen about laughing at the stars of this book. In fact, she would have regarded them as a bunch of wimps, for she despised all the qualities displayed by these noble creatures, and had proved, beyond all shadow of a doubt, that being the manipulative, conniving, and selfish bitch that she was, paid off much, much better. Finn decided to come to live with us one very cold and wet Sunday night when she followed my daughter home. We had never had a dog, nor did we want one. Finn, however, had other ideas. She stood drenched and dejected on our doorstep until, urged on by the younger members of the family, I threw a piece of carpet into the garage for her to lie on and gave her the remains of the Sunday joint. Wrong. Oh, so very, very wrong. Thereafter, every evening when I came home from work, there she was, shivering on the doorstep. What I didn't know was that she had been lying in front of a blazing fire all afternoon until my son heard my car turn into the driveway, and she was deposited hastily on the doorstep to do her act. And oh boy, could she act. A sort of Meryl Streep with paws. As the weeks went by, she progressed from the carpet in the garage to a sheepskin rug on the landing, via the kitchen, the hall, and the cloakroom. Beds would, of course, have been her ultimate aim, but they were inconsiderately occupied by humans, so she settled for the rug. As I said, we had never had dogs and knew nothing about them, but I did know that all puppies, male and female alike, sit down to pee. Although not a small puppy when she arrived with us, Finn was not fully grown, and for some reason we assumed that she was male, and attributed her method of urination to her youth and not her gender. She looked a bit like a German shepherd, so my son bought her a very broad, macho collar, which made her look a wee bit like a well-known Ulster cleric. We named her Finn after Finn McCool, the Irish giant. When we took her to be inoculated and spayed, the vet told us that she was a mixture of German shepherd and greyhound, and also that she was most definitely female. But she'd got used to her name, so we never altered it to Fionnuala. Thus began a relationship which was to last for over 17 years, and which displayed loyalty and fidelity in their purest form. But the thing was, these qualities were all one-sided. Mine. There was no delighted wagging of tail to welcome me home, or grateful barking when I suggested walkies. You must be kidding. Finn would have regarded such behaviour as ostentatious and certainly undignified for the lady of the house, which is what she thought she was. She treated the rest of the family with similar disdain. My husband bought her a £1/4 of raspberry ruffles every weekend, but she never offered to share these or even thank him with a grateful lick. Strangers coming to our door were confronted by bared fangs and slavering jaws, and postmen, milkmen, meter readers and Jehovah's Witnesses all had serious doubts about their job satisfaction after an encounter with the hound from hell. She did, however, make one notable exception to this aggression. He was a friend of my husband's, who also happened to be a butcher, and brought her mysterious, delicious things wrapped up in newspaper. She greeted this man with little yelps of delight and sat with her head on his knee, looking up at him adoringly. Now, she never actually bit anyone, or even any other animal, much too crafty for that. But she was the mistress of intimidation and operated a sort of one-dog Cosa Nostra in our neighbourhood among her fellow canines. We had at that time living next door to us 2 beautiful Doberman pinschers. These aristocratic animals looked positively anorexic because as soon as their dinner was served, the godmother pushed her way through their fence and snarled them into a corner while she proceeded to polish off what was in their dinner bowls. The 3 cats, whose garden adjoined ours on the other side, would have needed a feline psychotherapist, as they were convinced they were blackbirds, having spent so much of their lives up trees. However, she did have her Achilles heel, or should I say Achilles paw. And this took the form of a tiny epileptic chihuahua who lived up the street and spent his time dancing up and down frantically on his little stick legs. Finn didn't quite know what to make of this phenomena and always positioned me between her and the midget with the fidgets when passing his gate. On one occasion she and I were both in the garden while I took in some washing. My arms full, I tripped and badly wrenched my ankle before falling down some steps. I knew I was going to pass out, but managed to drag myself to the back door before the mists of oblivion claimed me, and I recollected my faithful friend padding over my prone body and disappearing into lie in front of the warm stove. When I regained consciousness, I limped to the nearest whiskey bottle. Finn opened one amber eye with an expression which clearly said, "Oh yes, any old excuse." Finn is dead now. If there's a doggy heaven, I don't think she would make it. I can imagine Greyfriars Bobby refusing her entry at the pearly gates, and I can also imagine Finn telling him to stuff his celestial trees, and anyway, she never did go in much for harp music. The only tune she seemed to care for was the theme tune from Match of the Day. We have her ashes buried in a small casket under our most beautiful standard rose tree, knowing full well that she would curl her lip at such maudlin sentimentality. But as my husband and I held her when she died, she looked at us in such a way that I know she was well satisfied that her human pets had indeed been loyal and faithful.